Hello guys. A few weeks ago my wife gave me this. Take 150. I'm just kidding. But she actually gave me this, and I think she was trying to make fun of me. But sometimes it is funny, because when it comes to talking about something like this, I'm not the best English speaker in the world, and as you all know, I'm not American. So sometimes my tongue is pointing in the opposite direction. But today I'm going to try to do it anyway. And some of you guys have asked me some questions about my arrows. And I have tried to answer them in the comments. But today I'm going to make this short video about my arrows and why I'm choosing the shaft I do. The shaft I'm using is the Gold Tip Ultralight series. I'm not sure you can see this, but this is the Gold Tip Ultralight series, and the last 3 years I've been using this shaft. This is the Spine 400 shaft, and I also have the Spine 500, which I'm using on some of the other bows. But the bow I'm using right now, I need the Spine 400. At a Spine 400, this shaft only weighs 7.4 grain per inch. And that's a relatively light shaft. And which brings me back to the whole point of the arrow. Because as we all know, the most important thing in bow hunting is accuracy. And to be accurate with a bow and arrow, we need a well-tuned arrow and a well-tuned bow. And with a shaft like this at 7.4 grain per inch, it is extremely easy for me to make a high FOC. As you can see at this arrow. Now I have the VPA 200 grain 3-blade, and I have a 100 grain brass insert. So in all I have 300 grain in the front of this arrow, and that makes the FOC, or forward of center, pretty high. And with a pretty high forward of center, it is much more easy to tune the arrow. I guarantee you should try it. If I have chosen for example, the Gold Tip traditional hunter, I'm not sure, but I think the traditional hunter in Spine 400 is around 10 grain per inch. So if I have chosen that shaft, I would only have had 18% of FOC and the balance point around here. Of course, the arrow would have been heavier, but this arrow right here is already weighing 570 grain, and it's plenty for there. So, and why not put all the weight where it's needed? Because it is still this end of the arrow which are killing the deer. It is not the back end. And some folks might say this shaft is not suitable for hunting because it is too fragile and it can break. Of course it can break. But I have seen all other shafts break too, and thicker shaft and heavier shaft, they will also break. So because if the deer is reacting on the string and it's making a movement like this, and you are hitting the shoulder, maybe this shaft will break right here. It happened in a few of my videos, but it doesn't really matter, because this end of the arrow have already done the job. So, and we need to keep in mind that it is still the broadhead which are doing the killing. it is not the shaft. So with a light grain per inch, it is much more easy to make a high FOC like this. And with a high FOC like this, it is much more easy to tune the arrow, I guarantee you. And because I'm putting the 100 grain brass insert inside the shaft, I can choose to, if I'm using the, maybe I'm using another bow, where I prefer to have a lighter arrow, like the 500 grain or 496 grain, like this is now. I can choose to put on the 125 grain VPA, and even with the 125 VPA, I still have a pretty high FOC, as you can see. Maybe this is 20%, I think. So with a high FOC, it's much more easy to tune the arrow, and with a well-tuned arrow, you are much more accurate, I guarantee you. Thank you for watching, and I hope I'll see you next time. Bye.